What's going on, everybody? LK here, back at it again with another video, and today some more Dragon Ball Fighters for y'all. So I'm uploading this video a day early because of Guilty Gear Strive. I'll be streaming that a lot this week, so be sure to check that out. But today I wanted to talk about the problem with S. Broly. Super Broly is a character that I think is pretty cool. I played him in the previous patch a little bit, messing around with teams. And the thing about him specifically is that there's a perception that's pretty common about him and his problems that I kind of disagree with. So I'm going to try to cover it as best as I can in this video. And as usual, if you guys like these type of videos, the match analysis, and everything else I put on this channel, definitely consider taking a sec to like this video or subscribe to the channel if you already have not. It does help the channel grow, and I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. So, it's like I said before, this character I feel like is pretty misunderstood. So first off, he has a lot of strong points. So he has very large normals because, honestly, he's a big boy. He's got things like this amazing 2L, huge JL, huge jab, but we'll revisit this move in a little while. Really big 5M. Having big moves is an obvious advantage in this game. A lot of characters are small and have stubby normals. He's also surprisingly mobile, so when we look at characters, especially their air movement, we try to look for moves that either alter their air momentum some way or make them travel. So for instance, his peer, Z Broly, a lot of people think this character is top tier. He is not that good at this. As far as altering his air momentum, he has this jump too heavy that goes straight down, and he can float with his anti-air grab. Why aren't these tools good? So the main thing about the jump too heavy is that it goes straight down. It doesn't like actually make him go somewhere else, unlike other similar moves. And the air grab, despite traveling horizontally very far, is more of just a stalling tool than anything else. And then once he does that, he really doesn't have any options anymore. So S. Broly has one main really good option, which is this dive. Dive kicks in this game are extremely strong for altering your air momentum. Combined with an assist, it's really easy to hit confirm. Another good asset that he has is that he has a lot of extra normals, mainly because of his 2M. So his 2M can be chained into itself similar to Cell, but instead of 2 times, he gets to do it 4 times. This is one of the main special things he has in his normal set. In addition, he has a 2S that has additional block stun. We call it special block stun normally, but it means that this 2S jails into Super Dash. The initial move itself is a little slow, but people block moves like Galactic Donut all the time, so you can definitely get away with using it. He also has a really good spread of assists. This assist was his original assist from Season 2. Despite it not being a beam, it basically travels full screen, which is quite strong. It's a little on the slow side though. Now this one is a huge one. He has an anti-air assist like GT Goku's. This assist was honestly season defining. It was a really good assist that seals off a portion of the screen. And while his is not a multi-hitting assist, it's still really good. And to top it off, he has a beam assist in his C assist as well. And speaking of the anti-air B assist, he has a lot of ways to anti-air you in general. He can use things like his eraser blow plus an assist to drag you down. He could use 2L, which hits incredibly high. He could anti-air you with his medium grab. This is a little bit harder to do, but still an option. If someone is jumping and blocking really defensively, he can try to anti-air them with his jump too heavy. For whatever reason, they made it a really common thread around grapplers that jumping can't be an escape against them. And finally, his damage and meter build are really good. He has a lot of combo options available, similar to characters like Team Gohan, but he adds an important function on your team of being able to do a ton of damage off hits. So all that stuff sounds amazing, so why do people have problems with him? So let's start with the most common thing that people say about him, and they usually refer to his frame data and how bad his staggers are. So an important thing to remember is that a lot of things that are in this game that characters have, especially Goku Black and Zamasu being bad, are done on purpose. So here's a character that I made a video on before in this series, the problem with Trunks, who similarly people are like, this character's frame data is bad, which means their pressure is bad because they can't stagger very well. When people say this character is bad at staggering, what do they mean? We'll use GT Goku as an example here. So he has a jab that advances and it's -3. One thing that people used to do, legitimately, is this. Why is that so good? So one, you're using normals that are basically too fast, so like by the time you see it, it already comes out type of thing. And since they're lights, he has his whole options of chains to use. So you could follow up with LL at some point, you could follow up with 2M at some point. You don't know. You could sneak in a Drag Rush in here too at any time. And since he has a move that puts him airborne, he's really good at cycling his options too. So let's go back to Trunks. So Trunks has no such move like 2S. His jabs are safe, they're -5. The fastest moves in the game are 6 frames, so you can't punish -5 moves. He has to do what most characters do and either play around his jabs, or you use your mediums for pressure and enforce the spot there. This is what people like to do a lot because it also makes it easier to hit confirm. Now here the issue with Trunks is that his mediums are -9 and -10. So he's not really good at doing this, but they gave him this because he can make himself safe or even more advantageous than usual by going airborne. So what's the case with Super Broly then? So he has extra normals like 2M. This move is unsafe at -7. This move is really unsafe at -11. His jab is unsafe at -7 as well, which is pretty uncommon in this game. As far as just looking at the numbers of what's safe, it's basically just his string enders. Moves like his dive kick and Eraser Blow are both -5. So you would think that he has to chain into these moves to stay safe, which leads him to being vulnerable to guard cancel. If you did pressure to him like a normal character, it would be pretty easy to guard cancel him. So what do we do about this? We have to change our approach to doing offense a little bit with him because of the way his normals work. So one tactic that competitive players like to use a lot is delaying their normals in a way so that if the opponent guard cancels, moves don't come out. This is because the screen kind of freezes right there. So for instance, if you time it right, then you'll be able to anti-air the guard cancel. This is pretty important for him. This is a really important skill to train with him because people are going to be thinking that they can guard cancel very easily against him. Which leads me to something that I think is actually an issue with him. Because of this way of doing offense, I feel like he has to gamble way more than other grappler characters. Once you get good at this delay canceling technique, then it really simplifies his pressure to just literally poke or throw. Because for instance, there's a gap here, so people can reflect at any time, but if they reflect, you grab them and combo them. Similarly, if they're waiting for a guard cancel opportunity, you can go for a command grab, but it just makes it so that he has to be way more direct about this type of choice. Broly, since he has moves that are like -2, for example, and -5, he's able to create the situation when he wants it, as opposed to it being super prevalent at all times with S Broly. The other big issue I see with him that I don't see people talk about that much is how much recovery he has on things. So for example, this move is a really good move in theory. It's yet another S move he has that beats Super Dash. It covers a pretty good angle. It has a ton of block stun, so it jails into Super Dash. And it stops his air momentum. But it has a huge downside of it has a ton of recovery. Even if you use Vanish to try to protect yourself, the opponent can catch you into a combo. This is a pretty common thread with a lot of his moves. I mentioned his jab earlier, which just has a lot of travel time, but his jab has a ton of recovery in neutral. In comparison, this is GT Goku's jab. Despite him having a pretty strong toolset in theory, it makes it hard for him to use normals alone, and you have to take risks a lot with him in neutral, which people don't like. I actually think this thing is the #1 problem with him, and it's probably the main reason why I didn't settle on him this patch, because I always try to play this character because I like the concept of him, and he has a lot of great tools like I mentioned before. So hopefully all that made sense. I usually try playing this character. I mean, even just before this baby patch, I was playing a team for fun with him on it, but I like him as a character and I like the tools that he has, so I always try to play him. So really the killer for me when I play him is how much recovery he has on things. As usual, if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you feel like it, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.